Hi, my name is Charlene Dan G. Pascual. I go to Belmont High School as a junior and I'm 17 years old. But some people call me Diane. I live in Navotas, Manila, Philippines. The life to be in the Philippines is really fun because I have a big family there and my mom's side, my father's side. So we gather each other and then we eat same time, all of us on the table. I grew up like have maids and then someone cook for me. I moved to Los Angeles, California at year 2003, March 7. My mom was here first. She's been here like years, and my grandma was here too, and my aunt, my uncle, and some of my relatives. My grandfather passed away at time, so she wanted to comfort my grandma and stuff. My mom invited me to go here to United States of America to visit my grandma, and I wasn't expecting that I'm gonna be here. Here for good for staying here in America. It was like surprise to me because like I only think it's vacation time for me here, and I'm gonna go back to my school there in the Philippines. My mom used to own a restaurant, Arlen's Best Food. And it's a fine restaurant. It's really nice because some celebrity goes there too. And she graduated accountant. When she first came here, she started to do caregiver. She works like 6 days in a week and 24 hours a day. So I hardly see him. It was really hard. My mom was so exhausted. She actually taking care of one old man and one old woman. They're like husband and wife. And they're really old, like they're 98 and 90, something like that. It's really hard for her because like she only get paid for only one old man, but she still takes care of the other one. And they're taking advantage over. She cooks there and she do laundry there. She cleans the house and she even walks a dog. She only gets paid for like $80 a day for 24 hours. And she hardly gets sleep because like, you have to watch the old people over there. It's really hard. I can't even think like how can she do it. We hardly see her because like we go to school and then go home and then my dad left. That's the time that I learned how to cook because like my mom wasn't there, so I started cooking and stuff. Because first like we only eat like ramen noodles, that's it, and rice. I always clean the house. I even like do the dishes and stuff. We're not really close when I first came because like she's been like missing a lot because like we're in the Philippines and then my dad is only there and then my mom's like working here in America with my grandma. So when I came here, that's when we started to get close. And I miss her. I wanted to like hug her, like tell her like, about me, what's going on in the Philippines back then, when I was a kid when she was here in America. So it's kind of like make me kind of a little depressed because I don't have any friends when I first came here. So yeah, I miss her. I need someone to be with me at home. Not only my brothers, but adult like my mom to comfort me, like how am I doing at school and stuff, blah blah blah. And I'm a girl, she's supposed to be there to me. Then when I started to go to middle school, I started to have friends. I'm loud because in the Philippines I'm like really quiet and kind of intimidated because like my parents there it's really strict and my siblings, my other brothers and sisters there too. My mom don't speak that time because like she only get paid for $80. She stayed quiet for that, even though they're taking advantage of her. But then she started to know PWC and she started to talk. It's my mom over there. She started to speak out and to voice out what's the right of being human and what's the hard thing about immigration here in USA. The PWC helped us to get a lawyer for volunteer. It's only for free. My mom has like courage to voice out what's her right now. The PWC actually like give her like hope. Like now she gets paid. The right payments. My mom now is a CNA. CNA stands for Certified Nursing Assistant. She's still a caregiver, but then she's trying to find a hospital to work on.
My name is Xochitl Sanchez and I'm 17 years old. I go to school at the School for Visual Arts and Humanities on the Roy Ball campus. I've been living around historic Filipino town basically my whole life. Nothing culturally comes to mind thinking about historic Filipino town. The first thing that comes to mind is just the area. And there's not really certain things that stand out to me that derive the name historic Filipino town. I don't really see things that connotate the what this district has been called. This is Belmont High School. I came here for my freshman and sophomore year. It was built around the 1950s, so it's a lot of history here. Belmont hasn't had the best reputation, and as you can see from the background, there's a lot of tagging in this school. There's been like gang members in this school. There's also been a lack of respect for the campus itself. And also we've just had bad teachers within our school. There's been teachers who just don't care. I remember I had a substitute teacher that fell asleep. Actually, I think my biology teacher would fall asleep too sometimes. He would put on a video and just fall asleep. Well, it's mostly that lack of people actually caring about the education for the students. Just been kind of stereotypical. The kids in this area are either going to end up in gangs, they're going to end up in prison, they're going to end up at McDonald's. I take the time to actually care about their education when it kind of seems like they don't care about it themselves. It's not true for most of us. We actually want to get out of here. We want to do better things with our lives. My memories from Belmont haven't been all that great, with just a few exceptions. As far as the teachers I've had, there has been one that has really stood out for me, and that's my world history teacher, Mr. DePuccio, who was, well, to me, has been the best teacher I've ever had. But generally, well, my other teachers, mediocre, kind of like, here's the textbook, here's the worksheet, do what you have to. The school, the classes are crowded. I remember there was an instance, and I think it was in Mr. DePuccio's class, where there wasn't enough seats in the third period. So we had me and a couple of friends had to sit on the back, on the floor. So that was really, really bad. Belmont High School has left an imprint. Well, I don't come here anymore, so it's different. The school is divided into different small learning communities. They're sending kids out of this school because of the other schools that have been built around the area. We were moved into the new Roy Ball campus. The teachers are a little bit better. The classes are a lot smaller. Through the program PETA Productions, well, I've learned that historic Filipino town is more than what I've seen. There's hidden things. There are some culture coming out of historic Filipino town through the Filipinos that are currently here. Well, I've seen it a lot in PwC, Filipino Worker Center. And I guess what's important to me is that it's been used kind of as a stopping ground for a lot of people, a lot of cultures. Well, as I said, teachers don't really care about education because of the stereotype of, the kids that live in this area, we're gonna end up in gangs, we're gonna end up, at McDonald's. And so basically, well, with my friends, we were just kind of like, that's not what we want for ourselves, and we knew that since the beginning. So we've always discussed it, and we've noticed and looked for the teachers that we know are willing to help us get the best that we can out of Belmont High School. Historic Filipino town means to me this hidden gem. I kind of thought of this area as being dingy, kind of dirty. Well, it's what I've lived around, but I've always considered it to be kind of, well, obviously lower class. But when you look more into it, when you come into this area, when you meet the people, you see that it's not really what matters what you see, what you come across when you see it. It's basically what the people are doing in this area to try to make it better, to try to fix it. Hopefully be more representative of a historic Filipino town in terms of culture. I chose Belmont High School as my special, site in historic Filipino town, because even though I haven't really said many positive things about it, it's definitely left an imprint on me. It's made me really think about my future, and definitely the fact that I don't want to end up being a statistic coming out of this area. So it's made me realize that I want to go to college. I want to do something better. I want to, be able to have opportunities that are greater than just a high school diploma, that just to be able to have a better life for myself.
My name is Angelo Bernardo. I'm 19 years old. My nickname is Manok. When I was, I think, in the 5th grade or 6th grade, I used to own a fighting rooster. And since then, I began drawing chickens and playing with it. When I was 13, we came here to Los Angeles, in historic Filipino town, for vacation. We spent here, I think, 2 months. Then we went back to the Philippines. Then in 2004, my dad told us that we have to come back here and to stay here. So in August 2004, we came here. And since then, we haven't left. We're here at Rosemont Terrace Apartments in Rosemont Street. About 90% of people who live here are Filipinos. This is where my friends stay. So I decided that this is a good place where we can do traditional stuff like caroling in the Philippines. So last December of 2008, we did our caroling here.
Alis ka?
No.
Hey, naglinis ka? Go clean right now. Right now.
Caroling is a tradition we do in the Philippines. It's where we sing songs in front of houses. We only do that for money, and now we're gonna do it for money too in the United States. And my friend Jonathan here is gonna help me with some of our friends. In the Philippines, what we do is we show up the house and we just sing. And if they say patawad or sorry, we just get on to another house.
If the person didn't give us money, we're gonna sing like this.
1, 2, 3, go. Thank you, ang babarat ninyo, thank you. Before coming to Los Angeles, I used to live in the Philippines, the Novaliches, Caloocan City in Metro Manila. It's a subdivision called Villa Magdalena 3. It's a place that is mixed of people. There would be people who squats in their houses, people who are rich, people who are in the middle class, but mostly people in the middle class. When my dad told us that we're gonna stay here in LA, I was kind of surprised because I thought I'm gonna finish my studies in the Philippines. At first, I didn't want to go because I'm gonna miss my friends, my relatives, but I had no choice.
Hey, we're here to sing a song for you.
Hey.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, sa may bahay ang aming bati. Merry Christmas, nawawalhati. Ang pag-ibig, pagkagati. Araw-araw ay mag-iwas ko lagi. Balik mo na lang. Honestly, I didn't know that Los Angeles would look like this. I actually thought that it would be full of white people. But when I come here, I actually noticed that every other country in the world, people stays in Los Angeles. So I'm kind of happy about that because I get to go around the world in just one place. What I miss most in the Philippines are the food, my friends, my relatives, and the spaghetti at McDonald's. Most of my friends here in HiFi are mostly immigrants from the Philippines. I guess Phil-Ams who were born here or who have stayed here for a long time. They're more supportive about the Filipino issues, right, other than the immigrants who came here, because the immigrants who came here are just here, maybe not all of them, but most are for studying or making money. The ones who are born here are proud to be Filipinos. They would be wearing their shirt, proud to be Pinoy, or their things. And you can see an immigrant, like for example me, who doesn't need to show those t-shirts or belt buckles to show that they're Filipino, because they're Filipinos.
My name is Aldrin McCausland. I'm 15 years old. A place in historic Filipino town that means something to me is my house, my apartment, because that's where I live in historic Filipino town, and that's where it started for me to meet the people around historic Filipino town. I don't see myself living anywhere else in historic Filipino town in the coming years. And there's a lot of memories in my apartment, such as birthdays, New Year's, Christmas, and holidays. And my birthday, never had a present from so that I like. They just gave me money, which is cool, but that's it. In my birthday parties, the only reason I asked my parents to hold them up is for my friends to come over. I never really eat, we just play video games. We play action games like Halo.
My name is Christopher Rivera. I've lived in historic Filipino town since 1999, so that's about 10 years. I'm 18 years old and I go to school for the visual arts and humanities. This is the building I live in. The building itself, it consists of apartments all the way in top and then businesses all the way in the bottom. This apartment is on Glendale Boulevard and Court Street in historic Filipino town. Since I've lived here, which was 1999 when I moved here with my mother, because she wanted to find a cheaper apartment. The market has been here since I lived here, or prior to that, before that. And this pet store has always been there, like since I can remember. But businesses all the way in the end, like the 98-cent store, they've changed throughout the years. Before, when I first moved here, there was this salon there with like this mother and her little daughter. They used to live there, and then like they also converted it into a salon. There's also this kind of loft-looking, artistic, I don't know what it is. But before that, it was just a bicycle shop where like a bunch of like new artists or hipsters from the neighborhood would come and like get their bicycles fixed. Now I'm assuming there's just this guy who lives there who I guess he's an artist maybe, and just uses that space to paint whatever he does. This is my favorite location. It's the corner of Temple and Glendale Boulevard. I think it's my favorite location because it's pretty much the intersection between, the border between Echo Park and historic Filipino town. Echo Park is where I grew up for like, I don't know, like when I was like a little kid, and then I moved to historic Filipino town, and that's where like I grew up when I was like a teen. So I feel like this intersection is pretty prominent to transportation in Los Angeles because you can take the bus, which is what I usually do, the 10 to West Hollywood, to Melrose where I go like shopping, or I can take the Dash to MacArthur Park, or I can cross the street and I can take the bus to downtown, or I can even take the Dash to Echo Park, or I can do anything. I can take the freeway, which is like right there, to Hollywood. I can pretty much go anywhere I want. I usually find myself waiting like a long time for the bus because the 10 takes forever. This is like the bus stop I'm usually with my friend. Somehow we just end up having really deep conversations about life, about our future, about what we want to do career-wise, about our self-consciousness, whatever it is. This is like where we talk about it. There's something about this location that just makes us feel really comfortable. This location is pretty random. It shows the diversity of historic Filipino town. Right here you have tennis courts, which is the most random thing you can have in the intersection. Across the street you have a mechanic place where they fix cars. To the other side they have a car wash. And to that corner they have a gas station. So you pretty much have random things in this intersection, which pretty much expresses historic Filipino town. It's not just Filipino people, it's Latinos, whites, blacks, you know, everything. We have, this place is diverse. So this is why this corner is my favorite intersection. Considering how I just like moved from Echo Park to here, to historic Filipino town, which is like a block away, I never really like pictured historic Filipino town to be called historic Filipino town. I pretty much found out about it like I would say a year ago, and it was pretty surprising to me because Echo Park is just known to be, well, for the past 10 years it's been known to be like, you know, Latino based, and I'm like Latino, I'm Guatemalan. So when I moved here, I thought it was Echo Park. I just pretty much expected Latino people to live here, and you know, Central Americans and everything. So when I found out that it was called historic Filipino town, it surprised me because, you know, you really don't see any Filipinos here unless you go like down Temple or down Beverly. Then you see more Filipino families living there and Filipino businesses. Lately, I've started to see a lot of white people, Caucasians, a lot of hipsters or artists, a lot of I don't know, everything. Like people have just started to move here. Like it's become very diverse. When I hear the term historic Filipino town, it honestly means nothing to me. I mean, it means historic to me because, you know, it's not really a Filipino town anymore. It's diverse town, I guess, because there's so many people here. There's so many people packed into like this 2-mile neighborhood that you can't really classify it as Filipino or as Latino or as anything. It's just, you know, it's vague. It's LA.
Running is very important to me. I remember my mom saying that I tried running first before walking. My name is Aldrin McCaustin. I'm 15 years old. I go to Roybal Complex in the School for Visual Arts and Humanities. I've been living in historic Filipino town for about 5 years now. My friends, the reason I hang out with them because we could actually have decent conversations about philosophy. Philosophers that interest me the most was philosophers that give you their perspective on how life should be filled, but not just how life should be ruled upon just morals and ethics, but to fulfill yourself, self-fulfillment and self-actualization, and not to be restrained by others. I take those philosophical ideas into my life to try to make myself physically, mentally, and spiritually satisfied and help others to reach the same level. For physical stuff, I would spend countless hours Googling, routines for building muscle strength and stronger heart.
South of Kabul to join the 32,000.
I was born in Guam. What brought me to historic Filipino town was that my parents were here. My parents were here 3 years before I was.
Chocolate.
Guam is a really small place where you could go to a beach in just about 20 minutes. Living in historic Filipino town is different because in historic Filipino town, it's not a really small, secluded island. You could actually go places. It's more diverse, and I got to see people like of different race that I never even knew existed, and it's really interesting to learn about their culture. The distance between my apartment and my school is probably 1 mile, and it would take me 5 minutes and 50-something seconds to get there. And taking the bus usually would take longer because it has to make all these stops.
No. No. It's that kid again. That stupid kid always late. Wait. Wait.
In the morning, I would try to chase the bus. I started running really young. I remember being really small and being tagged as my favorite game, but not until recently that I started routines to actually apply science and combination of art into it. I think that everyone should apply science to their daily lives and to other people's lives to make it better and more self-fulfilled. The way I incorporate science and art to running is that I only see running as this physical activity you could apply to real life by running away from something or someone and chasing someone. I would find the best way to run faster and longer while actually avoiding less strain. The connection between my running and chasing the bus is I'm kind of the late person that always arrives late, so maybe somewhere deep inside me I want to be late so that I'll actually get that exercise of chasing the bus. It's actually fun chasing the bus. It only sucks when you don't catch up to it. What I miss the most in Guam was the beaches, because in the beaches there, it was really fun running there, while here in the city, it's filled with cars and pollution, and it's really difficult to breathe. And usually, I would take the bus to go to the west side because they have more trees there. When chasing the bus, I would be thinking of flying, just looking forward, because when running really fast, you can't really feel your legs if you don't think about it. And that goes back to like thinking it's an art, because when running, I make up stories in my mind, because human beings can't fly, but almost everyone wants wings.
My name is Christopher Rivera. I'm 17 years old and I live in historic Filipino town. The place I chose was my house, which is on Glendale Boulevard and Court. The reason why I chose it is because it's an odd complex. It consists of a market, on the lower side, a pet shop, a video store. There's this guy who lives there who does bicycles repair. There's a 98-cent store. On the higher level, there's just apartments. And throughout the years that I lived there, there used to be a haircut place So I don't know, it's kind of like, it's very odd, it's very random. It kind of signified the meaning of historic Filipino town. When you think of historic Filipino town, you don't really think of Filipinos, you think of, well, I would think of Latinos. So I guess like that building has gone through a lot of change throughout the years, and so has historic Filipino town. Not only that, but that's where I live. That's where I sleep. There's no place like home. A memory that I have of my complex, I was walking with my friend. We were just coming from work, and I was walking, and I was like right in front of it was like 12 p.m. and I was in front of my building, and then my mom was driving by because she was getting home from work really late, and then she kind of stopped on the sidewalk and she told me something, and then ironically like behind her there was like cops, and then I was like kind of got scared, and I told her to go. I was just like, just go park, and you can tell me whatever you want to tell me later on. And ironically, like the cops, I guess, thought that was a random person trying to like tell me something. So like they like kind of stopped like towards me, and they're like, "What was it that she said?" And I was like, "Nothing." And then they kind of just ignored me, and they started following my mom. And I was like, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen?" So then eventually they caught up to my mom, and then they just told her that my mom explained to them that I was her son, and that's it. But it was kind of funny. It was kind of scary.
I miss food most. There are a lot of food that are not here, that are in the Philippines, like isaw and dirty ice cream and fish balls on a cart. And halo-halo. Isaw is chicken or pork into steam on a stick, and they are grilled. In the dirty ice cream cart, you usually find chocolate, cheese, avocado, ube, and cookies and cream. Dirty ice cream is ice cream on a cart. You can buy them for like 5 pesos or like less than a quarter. They're called dirty ice cream because they're served by poor people, and they're made in factories that are not really clean or sanitary. Hey Joshua, can you show me how to make adobo sandwich?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. First thing, use this, put on your left hand, yeah. For sanitary purposes, boom, like this. And then we need to cut this in half, like this.
My name is Rochelle Lopez. I'm 17 years old. I go to Belmont High School and I'm a junior. I've been in the United States for 2.5 years. When I was 14, my dad left the Philippines to come here and to find for a job. And after 2 months, we came. We arrived at LAX on June 24, 2006. My dad wanted to work in the United States for better salary and to give us a better life, but he eventually left us.
Next step is put some mayo. You can just squeeze the mayo on top, yeah. One line.
On both?
Yeah. Go like this with your protein. Go like this. Boom.
I picked Tribal Cafe as my favorite spot in the historic Filipino town because it's different from any other cafes I've been to, and they serve not only delicious food, but they're also healthy. Tribal Cafe is located on Temple Street between Glendale Boulevard and Union in historic Filipino town. It's really different from the other cafes I've been in, and it's really different from its surroundings because it's really relaxing inside, but outside it's like really busy. For me, life in the Philippines is harder because I don't get that much freedom because my parents and my grandparents are really strict. They don't let me out without our nanny.
Okay, that's good.
I grew up in Sampaloc, Manila. It's near
UST, University of Santo Tomas. In São Paulo, there's a lot of kids running around everywhere because there's like a street named Antipolo. They call it the kids factory because like every month there's a new kid born. I attended a private all-girls school. My parents and my grandma, they think that we're too young to have friends that are boys. I'm not allowed to talk to them or even just text with them. We are not supposed to be seen together. The first week I attended Bamo High, there was like a couple kissing in the rotunda. And then I talked to my friends, and when I looked at them again, they were already on the floor kissing. I was really shocked. I've never seen such thing before.
Tribal Cafe is different from the rest of historic Filipino town because the feeling's different when you go inside. You can do a lot of different things here, like listen to music, eat, drink, read, and sometimes they also have live bands playing here at night. I like adobo sandwich because it's different from any other sandwiches I've tried.
I'm interested in arts, math, science, basketball, music. I might be interested in computer engineering, advertising, and I also want to be a chef. The thing I like about cooking is it's fun, but I just don't like washing the dishes.
My name is Gianpaolo de los Santos. I'm 19 years old and I'm a musician. The place in the historic Filipino town that represents me is the Thai food restaurant. We call it Sonia, but I don't really actually know what's the name of the restaurant. But we used to eat there like every time that we're gonna have a rehearsal with my band, like after rehearsal. When I took them there for my birthday celebration, but it's not actually my birthday that day. Like we celebrated it like advance. So yeah, that's the strongest memory.
My name is Angelo Bernardo, but you can call me Manok. I'm 18 years old. The place in historic Filipino town that represents me is Filipino Workers Center. Before PWC, I don't really know much about historic Filipino town. And this is where we hang out after school. I like it because we can play music, we can watch movies, surf the internet. The first band that I had in PWC would be Fallen Crest. It's composed of vocalist Shell, bassist Balong, drummer Mark, and me as the guitars, and also Rochelle as the guitars. Now my band is TB because Fallen Crest broke up. It's me and the guitars, Rochelle and guitars, Paolo in the vocals, stay in vocals, Paul in bass, and Jay in drums. PWC is a special place because it's not actually for the kids, but they accept us here. It's actually for the workers, but they are so kind to accept us here. We're not supposed to play here. They're not supposed to fund us, but they do. They actually do. So they're doing something for us, but we're not really giving a lot to them.